to try to project that for the next 5 to 10 years, it's just a little bit tougher to evaluate when they're only 18 years old.
You know, Joe, we just talked to Brian Colangelo, and he's talking about going to the Jordan Brand All-Star game.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to the Duke North Carolina game to see how he's talking about going to a high school All-Star game, to your point.
I talked to a guy the other day, and we were talking about this, and I said, so when did you go see the guy? He said, oh, I had to go see him in the 8th grade. And he was talking about Josh Jackson.
So
like, the 8th grade. I was like, the 8th grade. And so now you're going to watch an 8th grader, and you're trying to project what he's going to be at 25 years old. Tough. It's not easy to try to project that. Now, try to project a 22-year-old who's been in college for 4 years, and you can talk to the assistant coaches and head coaches and everybody and opposing coaches. It's a little bit easier to make that evaluation.
Mike and Mike, Joe Dumars in our studio. Give me another one here on the trade of Jimmy Butler yesterday. You have track, but you feel like your team is in a rebuilding mode, and can you start with young guys? They get back Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn, and they move up 9 spots in the draft. They take the 7-foot pick and pop, Finn, Lauri Markkanen. A, your thoughts on the trade, and B, your thoughts on moving a player like that and how complicated it is.
So we always want to say who won the trade, who lost the trade. Sometimes you look at a trade and say it's a pretty good trade for both teams. So for Minnesota, you got a young team, and you start building a team in the NBA, and there are a lot of young guys. And I said this last night, at some point, you're going to have to start adding some veterans to that team. It's not easy to win in the NBA, and I'm talking about at the top level, championship, finals, with 18 and 19-year-old kids. And so, look, it's that time for us. We have some good young talent, but it's time to interject some veterans in here. For Chicago, almost just the opposite. We've had the veteran guys. I think we've probably gone as far as we can. It's time to take the veterans out, bring in more young guys. So you've got two teams who are probably opposite ends of the spectrum right now, internally, how they feel about themselves.
How much of the league is a copycat league? We all talk about it. Are you looking at the Warriors saying, what do we have to do to beat them, or are you just worried about your crew?
Figure out how to beat your division first, and the best team in the conference. And then look across the way, who are we going to compete with? It's a step-by-step process. You're not going to go from winning 35 games to okay, how are we going to beat the Warriors? Well, you're not. How about in style of play with teams? Sometimes I see teams trying to play the Warriors style without the Warriors personnel. I'm like, what are you doing? You're launching threes. This guy's not even a three-point shooter. And so play to your strength. And if your strength is not good enough to beat the Warriors, then so be it. But don't play to your weakness, because that's what they're doing. And all of a sudden you think you're going to beat them playing their style, and you're not as good as them at their style. I think that's a mistake.
I think they move without the ball better than anybody. Steph Curry sets more screens than a lot of big guys in this league, picks and pops. They run motion off of post passes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I lead Steph, or they see KD now, and they'll come down sometimes, Dan, and it's just come down, raise, hit a long three. And occasionally you're going to do it. You tell a guy, look, if you're feeling it, you come up, you let it go in the NBA. Pass, cut, move. And one other thing, they move their feet. They try to defend you. And so I think I really like the way they play, and I just don't think that everybody can just wake up and say, okay, we're going to play Golden State style. You better have the personnel, if you're going to do that.
Mike and Joe Dumars, I get that. Their philosophy is that's not what we do.
Right.
Can you win in the NBA now without doing that?
I think, though, you have to try to acquire three-point shooters to be able to do that. I don't think that you can just allow average shooters, below average shooters, to launch threes and say, well, we have to shoot threes in the NBA. Move the ball and get the ball to your best three-point shooter.
I guess when your team was Bill Laimbeer, who was sort of the precursor in some ways to some of this, and a banger and all that kind of stuff too. Yeah. But can you dump the ball down low and run an offense out of that, and maybe the best shot you're going to wind up with is an open 16-footer? I mean, can you win in basketball doing that anymore?
I think are you talking about at the highest level?
Well, I guess the highest level is what everyone's trying to do.
Mike, at the highest level, I think you have to be able to shoot the three.
Yeah.
The idea that you're just going to pound it inside in today's NBA, because look, the amount of shots the other team is going to get is going to dictate that you have to. Some of those are going to have to be threes. If you're going to win the NBA today, you have to shoot threes.
Mike and Mike, exactly how tall are you?
6'3".
Okay, 6'3". So this might not apply to you perfectly. Never stop saying The number one most difficult defender he ever faced in his whole life was Joe Dumars. So, Jordan, LeBron is probably unfair based upon the size, but we'll come back and we'll talk about what does Joe Dumars do with LeBron James? What does Joe Dumars do after this word from La Quinta? You know how you win at business? Here's how. You show up early for meetings. Now everybody's only on time, look like a bunch of slackers. Loyalty points for a free night that same night just by using the La Quinta app. Not only back in a moment. Mike and Mike.
Never stops moving. So Dell's U.S.-based small business technology advisors are trained to keep up.
Just call 877-BUY-DELL. You'll get connected with an advisor who'll get to know your business and tailor a solution with Dell PCs powered by Intel Core processors that is right for you. So you can focus on your business and leave the tech questions to Dell. Call 877-BUY-DELL to get in touch with a tech advisor today.
Inspected by a Honda-trained technician and backed by an outstanding Honda Limited warranty for up to 7 years or 100,000 miles from the original in-service date. You could say we pre-screen each one, as a precaution. Visit HondaCertified.com and search for local inventory. See warranty details.